Welcome to the Noticias El Salvador SV podcast, a space for conversation and reflection where we explore current events in El Salvador and around the world. If you'd like to support this project, you'll find the payment options, PayPal or QR Bitcoin, in the content description. For those requesting interviews, please note that we are not currently offering podcasts in that format. However, if you'd like to advertise your products, please email us at the address in the description. Find us on your favorite platform as Noticias El Salvador SV. So today we're diving deep, really deep, into some source material that honestly paints a picture of, well, a striking global economic paradox. Our goal here, our mission, if you like, is to pull out the most vital economic, political, and social nuggets of insight for you, our listener. We aim to present objective information about some really severe international volatility, and then, in quite sharp contrast, look at some targeted domestic progress.
Yeah, it's fascinating when you lay it out like that, because the foundation, really, of the global economy, you look at the United States specifically, it seems deeply fractured right now. It's grappling with these self-inflicted crises, almost on a scale we haven't quite seen before. And at the same time, you've got regional players, say in Latin America, making some, well, pretty bold moves, diplomatically, economically, trying to carve out their own paths, often fueled by external capital, strategic diversification. It's quite the contract. So I think we really need to dissect the mechanics of this global instability first. And then, set it against El Salvador's recent momentum.
Okay, absolutely. Let's unpack this right away. And let's start with what seems like the highest priority international economic news right now. This looming government shutdown crisis in the United States, the facts coming out in our sources about this political gridlock and the real potential for a full United States government shutdown. They're genuinely alarming. We saw Vice President JD Vance issue a really stark warning. He labeled the situation provoked, he said, by Democrats as, quote, genuinely unprecedented. He stated very clearly that while the administration has tried to mitigate things, the situation is moving fast from, I think his words were, a political farce to a tragedy.
And from a financial analyst's viewpoint, it's maybe even more than a tragedy. It's a systemic risk. I mean, the calculation of the economic cost, it's just staggering. The shutdown is projected to cost the United States economy $15 billion per week.
$15 billion a week.
Per week. And look, this isn't just about lost wages for federal workers, though that's part of it. This figure represents frozen government spending, potential delays in issuing new debt, lost productivity across countless federal agencies, and crucially, a massive, immediate erosion of global market confidence. Confidence in the reliability of U.S. fiscal management. That's huge.
And the duration, that's key too, right? This current closure has already gone past the previous record. That was, 2019? Under the first Trump period. 35 days.
Exactly, 35 days back then. And surpassing that length, well, it signals a deep structural failure. It's not just a temporary blip anymore. But let's talk about that $15 billion number. How does that cost actually, materialize so quickly for the average person or for an international partner watching this?
Yeah, that's a good question. How does it hit the ground?
Well, it's critical because that $15 billion figure, it comes from direct economic contraction, but also multiplier effects. Think about all the small and medium-sized businesses. Tens of thousands of them rely on government contracts. Everything from, say, IT support to maintenance, specialized research and development. Right. When the government shuts down, boom, those contracts are instantly frozen. Cash flow just stops, dead. And then there are the regulatory functions, things like FDA approvals for new drugs or permits for major infrastructure projects. They just halt. That slows down private sector investment, private sector productivity, and internationally, well, bond markets get nervous. They see this political paralysis and worry about the ability to service debt or even just maintain crucial economic reporting on time. So it's like a continuous systemic bleed of value. It dramatically slows down the whole engine of global growth.
And Vance, he detailed some specific, very immediate consequences too, bringing that economic analysis right down to the ground level. He warned about the potential for an aeronautical emergency that could lead to massive flight delays, disrupting travel, disrupting commerce. On the social side, essential programs, things like food stamps, they're facing depletion. That puts millions of vulnerable families under immense financial pressure right now. And then there's the burden on national security institutions, the armed forces having to operate under this duress and uncertainty.
And if you connect that to the bigger picture, the impact on key infrastructure, it's already happening. It's beyond just warnings now. Our sources are confirming that major United States airports are already proactively ordering a gradual reduction in flights.
Already, so it's not hypothetical.
No, it's not hypothetical. It's an operational decision happening now. a direct physical consequence of the system being under tension because of the shutdown. You know, when air traffic controllers, TSA personnel, maintenance staff, when they face uncertainty about getting paid or working without guarantees, the safety margins inevitably shrink. So airports are forced to cut capacity. And that move, it ripples out. Through international travel, global supply chains, commerce, it shows exactly how political gridlock translates immediately into physical operational choke points in the system.
Okay, so moving from that internal U.S. economic strain, let's look at global trade and regulatory tension. There's a really compelling example here involving the giant fashion company Shein, France, which is obviously a key consumer market in Europe, recently rejected a meeting with Shein officials, and this followed a scandal involving illegal products.
Right, and this raises a really important question, I think, about the whole sustainability of that fast fashion model, especially under this increasing international scrutiny, this rejection by France. It isn't just, a political snub. It's a powerful economic signal. It signals that regulatory compliance costs, they're skyrocketing. For a company like Shein, which is digitally native, mass volume, these regulatory issues are a systemic threat, whether it's labor standards, environmental impact, or the legality, the composition of their products. Major markets like France are clearly prioritizing consumer protection, ethical supply chains. And this kind of resistance, it threatens to significantly slow down, maybe even halt, these high-volume trade routes. That increases global supply chain risk, particularly for traditional consumer goods.
So a clear regulatory roadblock for physical goods. Now let's contrast this with a sector where capital seems to be actively flowing, high technology. The U.S. AI company Anthropic is actively reinforcing its corporate presence in Europe. That signals immense confidence, right? A commitment to international innovation centers.
Yeah, and what's fascinating here is the stark difference in capital allocation strategy. It's really diverging. While let's call it the old economy, is getting bogged down in regulatory compliance issues, the AI sector is actually accelerating its international expansion. It's hungry for specialized talent, for closer proximity to international markets. This really confirms that investors, corporate leaders, they're prioritizing immediate growth opportunities in these intangible strategic technologies over the increasingly complex, costly manufacturing and distribution of physical consumer goods. And just to reinforce this trend, our sources also confirm that OpenAI is actively seeking backing from the United States government itself to boost its AI investment.
So government backing too.
Exactly. It shows this kind of coordinated push. You've got private capital expanding globally and major domestic players seeking state support, all aimed at winning the global competition for technological dominance in AI. It's a major strategic priority.
Okay, shifting gears regionally now. Let's look at development financing and infrastructure in Central America. Guatemala recently announced plans to construct a massive new facility. It's intended to house 2,000 inmates, and the initial budget set for this is $130 million.
Right, $130 million.
Yeah.
Now, this project really requires a deeper dive into the public finance strategy behind it, because while $130 million is obviously a substantial sum, there's a crucial financial detail highlighted in the source material. It's very specific. This money, it's solely for the construction, the physical infrastructure.
Just the building itself.
Exactly. Equipment, furniture, and critically operational systems. Technology, security controls, training systems, they are explicitly not included in that budget.
Wait a minute. If they only budgeted for the visible part, the construction, isn't that basically just kicking the can down the road, kicking the can on the actual operational cost, which is often the most complex part of running a large institution like that?
That is precisely the core financial nuance here. Yes. It implies a political strategy and a financial one that prioritizes securing the funding for the main construction first. That gives you an immediate, visible infrastructure win. However, this approach, it inherently defers or maybe underbudgets the operationalization costs. Building the structure is just step one, making it functional, secure, compliant. That's steps 2 through 5. And those steps are often the most expensive part. So this decision creates a guaranteed future budgeting challenge. It leaves a significant, unquantified fiscal gap, a gap that must be addressed by later budgets. And that could potentially create long-term fiscal strain, or it could lead to delays in making the facility actually operational and functional.
Okay, moving now into the realm of geopolitics. We're seeing some pretty significant diplomatic shifts being orchestrated globally. Donald Trump announced via Truth Social that Kazakhstan is joining the Abraham Accords. This apparently followed a high-level call he held with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Kazakhstan's President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev.
Yeah, this is a highly strategic move, and geographically very significant. Kazakhstan's addition is specifically noted as the first country to join during this second presidential term for Trump. So it injects immediate political momentum into the accords. The stated aim is, building bridges globally, but the strategic implication is enormous. Kazakhstan is a large, strategically located Central Asian nation. Adding it expands the accord's footprint far beyond the Middle East. It gives the initiative a direct reach into the Eurasian continent, and that could potentially alter the regional diplomatic calculus, especially concerning key players like China and Russia.
In the narrative that came with the announcement, it stressed that, quote, many more nations are seeking to integrate into this club of strength.
Right. And that messaging is quite deliberate. It's designed to frame the accords not just as, say, a series of peace deals, but as a new model. A model for strategic, economic, and security cooperation. Integrating a country like Kazakhstan sends a signal to other nations. Nations seeking stability, new trade partnerships, maybe a counterbalance to existing regional powers. The signal is that this framework is viable, it's expanding. It's really an explicit challenge to traditional diplomatic alignment, and it emphasizes cooperation, even across long-standing conflict lines.
Okay, let's pivot now to some high-stakes United States foreign policy. Specifically, the contentious issue of executive military power in the Americas. Our sources detail a highly contested vote in the United States Senate concerning Venezuela.
Yeah, this was incredibly close, razor thin, really. It ended 49-51. And that vote rejected a resolution specifically aimed at preventing the president from ordering military attacks against Venezuela without getting prior specific congressional authorization.
So, trying to limit the president's power there.
Exactly. The measure was driven by Democrat Tim Kaine, but it only got support from 2 Republicans. That really highlights the deep partisan divide on this issue, the use of executive military authority.
So what does the failure of this resolution actually mean in terms of separation of powers or the potential for conflict?
Well, the constitutional implications are extremely clear and frankly critical. The president, having basically dodged this legislative check, retains the constitutional faculty, the power to carry out military actions against Venezuela without needing that specific proactive legislative approval the resolution sought. So the failure reinforces the executive branch's inherent authority in national security matters, foreign military deployment. It really forces you to think critically about that delicate balance, doesn't it? Between the executive's need for potentially rapid action and Congress's constitutional mandate to authorize war. That narrow margin, though, 49-51, it does indicate that while the executive position prevailed this time, there's significant bipartisan concern. Concern over the potential for unilateral military engagement in the region. And that adds a layer of sort of permanent tension to U.S.-Venezuela relations.
Right. Now, in sharp contrast to that internal U.S. debate over the power to intervene, we have a very firm, very public declaration of national sovereignty coming from Mexico. President Claudia Sheinbaum affirmed that Mexico would respond decisively to any real threat of United States military intervention, and she cited that powerful line from the Mexican national anthem, "A soldier in every son you gave."
That's a powerful statement, almost symbolic, isn't it? A declaration of national resolve. And it seems particularly aimed at rejecting these circulating rumors. Rumors about plans by some political figures in the U.S. to maybe send troops into Mexico, ostensibly to combat drug trafficking, Sheinbaum invoking the national anthem like that. It really elevates her rejection. It goes beyond standard political rhetoric. It becomes a foundational principle of national defense of cultural independence.
And she didn't just reject the potential action, did she? She also laid out the specific parameters for how Mexico will engage with its powerful neighbor.
Precisely. She emphasized that Mexico maintains dialogue with the United States, but under 3 core non-negotiable principles: sovereignty, independence, and non-intervention. This assertion is basically the Mexican government drawing a very clear geopolitical red line. It underscores the defense of their autonomy in international relations, and it sends a strong message. Cooperation has to be mutually respectful. Zero tolerance for perceived external interference, no matter the stated security justification coming from the North.
Okay, finally in this section, let's cover the sobering reality of global conflict seen through the lens of foreign fighters. A Moscow-backed tribunal in the occupied region of Donetsk delivered some harsh sentences. 2 Colombian mercenaries were condemned to 13 years in prison each. This was for fighting for Ukraine between 2023 and 2024.
Yes, the individuals were named as Alexander Ante, who's 48, and Jose Aron Medina Aranda, 37. And the legal context, the logistical context of their capture is actually quite telling. They were apparently arrested back in July while making a stopover in Venezuela, and then they were deported from Venezuela to Russia. It really highlights how this conflict pulls in individuals from all over the globe, and how nations not directly involved in the fighting, like Venezuela in this case, can become points of transit or even apprehension. That deeply complicates the international legal situation, the humanitarian situation surrounding these foreign fighters.
And the broader context, coming from Bogota, reveals a terrible human cost to this situation, doesn't it?
It certainly does. Our sources confirm that dozens of Colombians have tragically died fighting in Ukraine since February 2022. So these long prison sentences for Ante and Medina Aranda, they just add to that grim reality for mercenaries. It establishes a legal precedent, at least in the occupied territories, for harsh punitive action, often without the full legal protections that regular soldiers might expect under international conventions.
And the ongoing tragedy of this war, it was underlined again just recently, an incident where elite Ukrainian soldiers were killed and wounded. Russian missiles struck a location where a decoration ceremony was happening in the province of Dnipropetrovsk. It's just a sobering reminder, isn't it, that even during moments meant for recognition, for morale, the high cost of conflict remains brutally immediate.
It really is a complex and very tense international landscape right now. You've got economic instability in the West meeting these rapid diplomatic realignments and high-stakes military tensions across Europe, the Americas. It's a lot.
Navigating this incredibly dense environment, it really requires clear analysis, doesn't it? Clear synthesis. And that brings us to a moment just to pause and reflect.
Absolutely. And we really appreciate you, the listener, staying with us through this detailed look at these complex international affairs. As we transition now to the crucial domestic updates for El Salvador, we do want to reiterate something important. The time, the effort required for this level of in-depth analysis is only possible thanks to listener support.
That's exactly right. This kind of in-depth analysis, this objective reporting, it relies entirely on you. If you find value in these detailed reports, in these strategic insights, if this deep dive helps you feel better informed, maybe better prepared, please do consider collaborating or donating.
You can easily find the ways to contribute via PayPal or QR Bitcoin right there in the content description accompanying this discussion. Your support truly ensures we can continue bringing you clear, objective, detailed coverage of both the global pressures and the national developments that matter most. Okay, so now let's pivot to that national focus on El Salvador, looking first at economic performance and infrastructure plans.
Here in El Salvador, our sources confirmed the domestic insurance market grew, and it grew a pretty robust 5.6% in 2024.
Yeah, that 5.6% growth rate, it's actually much more than just a simple metric. It's a really vital sign, a sign of sectoral health, and maybe confidence in the broader economy too. You see, insurance sector expansion like that suggests a couple of critical things. First, that businesses, maybe individuals too, have enough disposable capital to actually invest in sophisticated risk mitigation products like insurance. And second, it suggests that the insurance companies themselves are finding profitable ways to expand. That indicates a dynamic, functioning financial environment. That growth rate, 5.6%, it suggests genuine financial services expansion. And it contrasts quite positively, actually, with general economic performance you might see elsewhere in the region.
Even more vital, though, perhaps the single most crucial element for the national economy are the figures on external income, family remittances. They grew substantially, an impressive increase of 18.5% through September.
Wow, 18.5%. Drilling down into that number, that growth is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. It confirms that remittances are, without a doubt, the absolute engine driving private consumption and economic dynamism in El Salvador. This sustained flow of external capital provides a massive, immediate boost to national purchasing power. For an economy that relies so heavily on internal demand, this injection of capital directly supports consumer spending, small businesses, overall liquidity. It really acts as a powerful buffer, a non-debt finance buffer, importantly, against potential global economic slowdowns. It gives the country arguably greater stability compared to some neighbors who rely more heavily on, say, fluctuating foreign direct investment.
And this growth narrative seems to be supported by a very deliberate and quite distinct economic diversification strategy, the Bitcoin Life Initiative. This strategy is actively boosting international Bitcoiner tourism in El Salvador. It confirms the country's unique strategic focus on BTC, on Bitcoin.
Yeah, this is really a textbook example almost of high-risk, high-reward economic diversification. It's a move away from relying solely on maybe saturated traditional tourism sectors,
right?
Basic resorts, historical sites. Instead, it targets a highly specific, often high net worth international capital group of the Bitcoiners. By providing a welcoming environment, a regulatory clear ecosystem, specialized infrastructure for cryptocurrency users, the country is actively attracting specialized international capital. And talent and investment too. It's effectively carving out a unique first-mover niche in the global digital economy. And this strategy, it's designed not just for short-term tourism, I think, but potentially to attract permanent digitally savvy international residency.
Okay, turning now to public finance and social welfare, there's a massive long-term investment coming in the health sector. The Ministry of Health, MinSol, and the Social Security Institute, ISSS, they're set to purchase $121.6 million worth of medicines. But this is scheduled for 2026.
Right, evaluating that expenditure, you really have to look at the fiscal planning involved. A commitment of $121.6 million made jointly by MinSol and ISS. It demonstrates a really large-scale financial commitment to public health infrastructure, and one that stretches well beyond the current fiscal year. Planning purchases for 2026 like this shows a crucial move, a move towards proactive supply chain management, towards forward-looking financial commitment. The aim seems to be ensuring future availability of necessary medical resources, trying to avoid those recurring shortages that can plague public health systems across the region. This scale of forward investment, it's essential, really, for building public trust and improving long-term health outcomes.
Additionally, on the social welfare front, the government has announced the payment of the Christmas bonus, the aguinaldo, along with specific bonds targeted for pensioners.
Ah yes, the aguinaldo. The timing of that payment is almost certainly a calculated move, designed as immediate economic stimulus. Injecting that cash into the population right before the major holiday season, it provides a powerful, if temporary, benefit for economic dynamism. It ensures that the high private consumption we talked about, already fueled by that massive remittance growth, is also complemented by government-induced liquidity. This synchronization, it keeps retail and service sectors robust. It maximizes market activity during that critical fourth quarter of the year.
Okay, finally, let's look towards the future of infrastructure and transportation. The Vice Minister of Transportation confirmed the government is in discussions with a remarkably diverse, geographically spread set of global partners, the United States, India, and Russia, to completely renew the public transportation bus fleet.
Now, this is perhaps the most fascinating example of pragmatic geopolitical sourcing applied to national infrastructure that we've seen in recent reporting. It's quite something. If you analyze the strategic rationale, it suggests a multifaceted approach. Sourcing from the United States. That likely provides access to highly advanced technology, specialized safety standards, maybe favorable financing terms linked to development partnerships, including India. Well, that suggests a strategy maybe to leverage high volume, cost-effective manufacturing capabilities, and India's growing global economic influence. And then, involving Russia. That suggests a willingness perhaps to explore competitive pricing or maybe access specialized heavy-duty vehicle technology that might be less available from Western suppliers. The key here seems to be diversification, ensuring the country isn't reliant on just one single geopolitical bloc for critical public assets. It maximizes negotiation leverage and aims to secure the most modern fleet possible, presumably from whoever offers the best overall package.
All right, turning now to domestic security and institutional accountability within El Salvador. We do have to cover a tragic incident that was reported in the historic center of San Salvador. A woman died after being struck by a bullet. The official narrative, as reported by the police, stated clearly that a soldier was arrested in connection with this and that the death was ruled accidental. Now, the reaction from the armed forces was immediate and it was substantial. It seemed to demonstrate institutional resolve. They expressed condolences, naturally, but they also announced they would deliver a compensation package, a package of $200,000 to the victim's family. That's specific, significant detail. It really underscores a commitment to accountability, maybe providing financial restitution for the loss, regardless of the official cause being ruled accidental.
Yeah, this incident and that subsequent compensation decision, it really needs to be viewed in the context of, well, demonstrating high state accountability, especially in an environment where security forces are very actively involved in maintaining public order day to day. That $200,000 figure is definitely noteworthy. It's a high compensation payout. It signals a clear institutional attempt to address the social, the political, the financial consequences of this tragic event, and to do so swiftly, decisively. The aim seems to be mitigating potential unrest and reinforcing public trust in the state's commitment to justice, even in cases that are officially labeled accidental.
Okay, let's contrast that internal urban security incident with their reported success in maritime border security. The National Navy successfully detained a Nicaraguan boat carrying drugs off the coast. That seems like a clear victory in the ongoing battle against organized crime.
Absolutely. Maritime interdiction operations like that are critical for national security, for securing porous borders against these transnational threats. The successful detention of that Nicaraguan boat, it reflects effective coordination, effective execution of naval patrols, protecting the country's coastline. And this domestic success, it does stand in some contrast to the high-risk environment reported elsewhere in our source material. Specifically regarding a drug boat attack reported in the Caribbean, mentioned by the United States War Minister, which tragically resulted in the deaths of 3 people. It just highlights the complex and often dangerous landscape of counter-narcotics efforts right across the region.
Shifting now to new safety regulations, the Vice Ministry of Transportation has detailed new rules, and they're effective December 29th. Most notably, motorcyclists will be required to use certified helmets, and private vehicles must use child restraint seats. And non-compliance for either offense will result in a substantial $150 fine.
Right, this is a classic example, isn't it, of government trying to balance public safety objectives against the economic burden of compliance for citizens. Requiring certified safety equipment like helmets and child seats that demonstrably improve safety outcomes. It specifically reduces severe injuries and fatalities in 2 of the most vulnerable transportation demographics, motorcyclists and children. However, there's no denying securing certified equipment does represent a financial hurdle, especially perhaps for lower income families. That $150 fine, which is quite punitive, it underscores the government's seriousness about enforcing these critical safety standards. It basically forces citizens to prioritize investing in that safety equipment before the deadline hits. It signals that safety is being treated as paramount, regardless of the cost involved.
Okay, next we need to address a matter of international presence within El Salvador. Citing the New York Times, our sources have neutrally reported that United States military aircraft are apparently operating from an airport in El Salvador.
Yes, and while the sources don't provide exhaustive details on the nature or scale of these operations, the geopolitical implications of such reports, if confirmed, are significant. The potential confirmed presence of U.S. military assets, even if the operations are purely logistical or temporary, it points towards robust, ongoing security cooperation between the 2 nations. Operations like these are typically focused on things like regional security threats, counter-narcotics efforts, or perhaps major migration control logistics. We have to be very careful here and strictly report this as information provided by external sources. But its existence, even as a report, underscores the strategic significance of the country as potentially a hub within the regional security architecture.
Right. And finally, let's look at a key shift in policy, one regarding population and residency, which actually complements some of the economic strategies we discussed earlier. El Salvador increased the number of permanent and temporary residencies granted to foreigners by a significant 43%. And that's just so far in 2025.
Wow, 43%. That surge is massive. It's a huge indication of a fundamental change, really, in migration and residency policy. This sharp rise, it contrasts significantly with historical trends, which were often focused more heavily on emigration from El Salvador. It strongly suggests a proactive policy, one designed to attract foreign capital, specialized skills, international talent. And it links explicitly back to those economic diversification strategies we talked about, like Bitcoin Life and broader digital integration, attracting highly skilled or capital-rich foreigners. That's a strategy used by developed nations worldwide to boost innovation capacity, to boost economic growth. So this policy shift confirms El Salvador is actively repositioning itself, trying to become an integrated destination for international residents and professionals. #@outro.
Okay, that was a lot to cover. Let's try to unpack this now and maybe distill the most critical takeaways from this really comprehensive deep dive. A dive into both global instability and targeted domestic momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. If we look at the confluence of everything we've discussed, from the halls of the U.S. Congress to the shores of Central Asia, right down to the local markets here in El Salvador, I think 3 major conclusions really stand out. Stand out as essential knowledge for you, the listener.
Okay, first, global economic fragility. This United States government shutdown represents a massive calculated crisis. It's costing an estimated $15 billion per week. This financial hemorrhage, it has widespread impacts, from freezing vital social programs like food stamps to forcing operational reductions in essential national security and air travel infrastructure. This crisis really compels a critical evaluation of global fiscal stability and highlights the dangerous ripple effects political gridlock can have on international markets.
Second, geopolitical redefinitions. Global dynamics seem to be rapidly shifting. We're seeing new alignments forming and also clear boundaries being drawn. We see this with the expansion of the Abraham Accords into Central Asia, with Kazakhstan, that signals new diplomatic strategic depth. And this shift is contrasted really sharply by those deep, narrow divisions in the U.S. Senate, specifically regarding executive military powers against nations like Venezuela. That underscores heightened regional tension and maybe a crisis of constitutional balance regarding intervention.
And third, El Salvador's financial dual focus. Domestically, here in El Salvador, there's clear, even accelerating economic momentum. It's driven significantly by that huge remittance growth of 18.5% through September, which acts as a powerful buffer for private consumption. Simultaneously, the country is executing these strategic investments in specialized sectors like Bitcoin tourism and making substantial proactive public finance commitments. Demonstrated by that $121.6 million future medicine purchase from Minsal and ISS, that signals long-term fiscal planning and social responsibility.
And all this, it really raises an important question, I think. Question for you, the listener, to consider as these trends continue to unfold. How will the convergence of these rising international tensions, particularly those contentious debates over the United States security and military powers, how will that contrast with the explicit push we're seeing for national sovereignty and for strategic economic autonomy taking place right across Latin America?
That is a fundamental geopolitical and economic question for the coming months, maybe years. We really encourage you to share this content, keep the conversation going, and help ensure others are well informed too.
And as always, we want to remind you that we rely entirely on your commitment to help sustain this level of detailed analysis. Please remember to contribute via PayPal and QR Bitcoin. You can find all the details right there in the content description. Your support is genuinely invaluable.
Thank you so much for joining us for this extensive deep dive into the source material today.
Farewell.
Until the next one.